A very good evening to you. Welcome to another episode of ManUp. This is the corner for men where we sit down as men and talk about issues that affect us on a day-to-day basis and find solutions to some of these issues. Now, if there's one thing a lot of young people are striving for, especially young men, is to make it. In fact, there's a saying that says, make it or make it. Back in the day, there was a song sung by one of the artists here, and the song said, I want to be famous. Nataka kuwa famous kama kalamashaka. Back in the day. And there's a lot of pressure on young men. Fame and fortune has become something that a lot of young people are chasing, and especially in this age of social media and where the entertainment scene has just exploded. You know, people are making colossal amounts of money doing content. Young people want to be content creators, or they want to get into sports, or they want to get into the entertainment scene. Why? Because they want fame and they want fortune. That's what we're going to be discussing this evening on ManUp. We have our live studio audience, kama kawaida, but on top of that, we have guests who are coming in. Today, I've gone international on you, my friend. Today, I have got guests from far and beyond. Yeah, they sit right next to the FA Cup, somewhere in the vicinity. And we want to have a discussion with them. First and foremost, we have Benedict Musola, who's the Christian sports chaplain of Wycombe Wanderers. Did I get the name right? Almost?
Yeah, almost. You're almost there. Yeah.
Where did I miss it?
Wycombe Wanderers.
Wycombe, not Y. Wycombe.
Yeah.
Awesome. Good to have you in
Thank
studio.
you. Thank you.
We also have Tobi Sho-Silva, Christian centre forward for Carlisle United FC.
Yeah.
Good to have you.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
I should have worn my soccer jersey today.
What team would you have chosen?
Arsenal, maybe, just to encourage some friends of mine. I'm just curious, because you're a chaplain, you're a man of God. Fame and fortune, is it wrong for young men to desire to be famous and to have some fortune?
I think fame and fortune, the way I see it, that's not an end in itself.
Okay.
Yeah. So I think perhaps that's where people get it wrong, because then you're chasing the wrong thing. Yeah. So fame perhaps comes about based on what you do and your success. So it's not an end in itself. So I don't think it's something we should chase or aim to gain.
Okay.
So I think that's where people already go wrong, because you're chasing the wrong thing. So I think life is about fulfilling your potential. Yeah, and perhaps I don't think there's any wrong per se. If you're playing well and someone says you're playing well, there's nothing wrong in that. They're just acknowledging the fact that you've played well.
Yeah.
But if then as a player, that's all you live for, that acknowledgement and recognition, then I think you've misplaced your ambitions and your desires. Yeah. And I think that's where the problem is.
Okay.
Yeah.
I was just thinking about this earlier on today, Tobi. Back in the day, people actually got famous for doing something. I mean, you had to achieve something huge, for you to become famous. Either you're a movie star or you are an athlete. But with social media, people are now famous for being famous. Yeah, and everybody wants to be famous because social media has given us such a platform where people can know you. You can do one video, it can go viral. Yeah. And people all around the globe are talking about you. And young people are chasing after that. Is it worth chasing after that?
From my personal experience, I think, like Benedict said, it's not an end in itself. So then I ask myself, what is the end?
What is the end? Yeah.
What is this bottom line that we're chasing after? I've played football for many years and been in similar situations where get the fame and everybody would like you. You want the attention of the crowd and you want the acceptance of other people. But it doesn't truly satisfy. I think people who are chasing after that, they're going to be chasing after more and more. I describe it as traveling but never arriving. or chasing, or searching but never finding. So I think, is it worth it? I would say when you actually get there, you're still going to want more. And then the question is, how do you satisfy yourself when you get all the things that you thought were the things which would satisfy you, and you're still empty? So.
But what does a young man do? Because this is the picture that's painted everywhere you go, that you need to be like this, you need to be like this, you need to have this. You know, it's like if you don't have this, you're not socially accepted. You know, the young girls are telling you, unless you're driving this kind of a car, you know, I mean, nowadays, how many followers do you have on social media? You know, it's like something we have to talk about. So how do you live above that pressure?
I mean, I think there's something about educating people, and I think that's lacking, because I think social trends is what is educating a lot of people. So people don't get wisdom and don't get taught and educated in some of these things we're talking about today. So, of course, the culture is going to carry you along, and you'll want to do what everybody else is doing. But has anyone just stopped to think about, why am I doing this? You know, what am I about? So, and especially for Christians, it's very different, because actually, from what we're describing here, there's a lot of I.
True.
How many followers do I have? You know, I want to be famous. I want people to acknowledge me. I want people to recognize me. So actually, at the end of the day, it becomes idol worship. So it's idolatry. This is what it's all become. How many followers I have. What I. It's idolatry at the end of the day.
Okay. You know, a lot of young people would look at you and you're living their dream. You're playing professional soccer in the UK, my friend. You're on top of the world. You know, talking about, from what he has explained, is that a pressure you went through? You know, because now here you are, you're playing professional soccer, you have all these other people around you, there's a certain kind of lifestyle people expect you to live now that you're there. How do you overcome that?
Great.
Well, first of all, have you overcome it? I'm making an assumption.
You know,
maybe I should go to the parking lot and see what kind of car you came in today.
I think it's a very interesting one, because it's something you constantly wrestle with in the flesh, you know, and it's something you need to kind of constantly renew your mind in. I remember kind of growing up through the academies, and people kind of thrust this worth or sense of value upon you because of what you do. You play football and the crowds go wild when you score, but when you're not scoring, you seem like you're worthless to people. You know, so then you got to ask yourself, how do people see me, but how do I also see myself? Where my value system's coming from? Am I worth more when I score 10 goals or 20 goals? Am I still that same worth when I score 1 or 2? You know? So you've got external things sometimes which you can't control. But if your worth is based on that, your worth's constantly changing. So I talk about the 3 P's of identity: possessions, performance, and position. You know, position speaks about the power that you have. Because I'm this, because I've got 1 million followers, I'm in a position of power, I'm worth more. But do you still have that value and that sense of self-worth when you have 10 followers, for example? So where's the source of this? You know, performance, when you score. And we were fortunate to win and get promoted just a couple of days ago at Wembley. And you see the performances of the boys, they're on a high, but then they're going to chase after that high again. So do they feel that they're still the same worth and value when they're not performing as well? So you got to ask yourself, what's the source of your worth? And as a Christian, sometimes that gets challenged, because like you said, the society and your identity is built on so many different things, other people's opinions, what you do, what you have. But Christ says that we're children of God, you know, and it's not about what we do. Our worth and our value, our identities, it's received, it's not earned. You know, it's the grace of God that we are who we are. And when we can anchor ourselves on that, it keeps us constant, but it also keeps us humble. So we actually get to cherish and value all the gifts that God has given us, not trying to earn the right to be a child of God, not trying to earn this worth or acceptance, but we know that we're loved, accepted and significant already.
Because you know, Benedict, even talking about the church, you know, there's what we call the prosperity gospel, that man is gaining momentum all across the world. And I've even seen churches that equate the blessing of God to material possessions. You know, unless you're driving this kind of car or wearing this kind of suit, then God hasn't blessed you. You know, you need to do this to gain this. And I've seen a lot of people even losing their money because you have to sow this kind of seed to reap this kind of harvest. What would you say to that, being a chaplain, a man of God? Talk to us.
Oh, my word. I think I keep coming back to that word, education. I mean, there's so much confusion and misinformation out there. It's just unreal. You know, Paul said, I have run my race. I have finished my course. So from the moment God allows us to be born into this world, we have a race to run. I have my race to run. You have your race to run.
Yes.
We all have our races to run. So my question to anybody today is, first of all, do you know what your race is? Are you running your race? Are you fulfilling your potential? Yeah. Because we talk about provision. Yeah, how God provides. And I had a preacher once preach on that, talking about where there's a vision, God then provides. So you have the provision. Yeah. So the problem we have now is people don't have a vision. They don't even know what they're about, what their race in life is. So because then you're so confused in that, then we want to start living our lives vicariously through other people, through celebrities, through pop stars, sports stars, you name it. So you start living somebody else's life. And so you just become so twisted in your ambitions, your motivation. But if you follow your race, your path that God has set for you, He's got the provision for it. He's going to provide that. And you'll be fulfilled and you'll glorify God.
But how do you protect yourself from allowing that to get into your head? Because when people start clapping and when people start telling you how, man, you the guy, you're the man.
You're the one.
You know, when everybody keeps telling you those things, you know, my friend here is a gospel artist. When you're on stage and the women are screaming, you know, Mr. Kimani, you know these things, yeah? I mean, how do you protect yourself so that it doesn't get to your head? Because you will begin to believe that you're the man.
Absolutely. The temptation is there. Because at the end of the day, at times as Christians, I think we have to be real. We are human beings at the end of the day. We are flesh and blood. And so,
as men, we also have an ego.
Exactly. Exactly. That needs a little bit of massaging, you know. And who does not like praise? Who does not like, you know? Because again, it's God who created us that way. We need to remember that as well. So it's a question of how how it's used, or whatsoever we do, we should do to the glory of God. So whether therefore we eat or drink or whatsoever we do, football, music, you name it, we do all to the glory of God. Now, if you can have that tattooed on yourself, if you can remind yourself that every morning or whatever you do, that is your mission in life. Whatever I do, it's God who gave me this opportunity, and I'll do all to the glory of God.
Okay, I want to throw this to Ezekiel and Daniel. Do you identify with what we are talking about? Have you guys undergone this pressure of trying to attain fame and fortune? And how do you maintain a sober head and the humility we are supposed to have as Christians?
Especially on social media, Instagram nowadays, especially in the UK, how many followers you have has a big effect on how you're seen in the football community. How you're seen by the people around you, what you post on your social media. We call them like Instagram footballers, where they're posting all this lavish lifestyle to maintain that image. So I've seen a lot of the times where if you don't know or run your race or know what the end is, you can continue to be in that bondage of wanting to keep that image. So what can I post so that the people think I'm doing well in my football? But for me, what's worked for me is just remembering that, you know, I'm running my race and it's all for God's glory. So, yeah.
Okay. Looking at some of our local players who've had the privilege of playing professional soccer, whether it's Dennis Oliech or Victor Wanyama,
Yeah.
you know, sometimes we go online and we see how much they are paid per day, per week, and you're thinking, if he could just give me his salary for one day, my life would change, man. My life would change. And so I'm just riding on what Benedict had said earlier. If they're paying you more than the average person would earn, and the money then is not the end game, as you said, so what's the money for?
So,
from your perspective as a believer?
Yeah, I think it speaks about in Genesis 12 that we're blessed to be blessings. So we can bless the nations, and God will make our name great, you know, so he can be made known. So I think the end goal has to be to steward the money faithfully in terms of how the Lord wants to build the kingdom and make himself known in and through us.
Okay.
Whether it's through charitable work, whether it's through giving, whether it's through building kingdom businesses, you know, with the principles of making him known.
Yeah.
I guess the chief end of man is to know God and to enjoy him forever. You know, and I think when we have that at the end of the goal, we got to ask ourselves, are we knowing God more and are we enjoying him more?
Yeah. I remember watching a video, and this guy was asking this individuals, if I was to give you $10 million today, would you be happy? And everybody said they'd be happy. He says, okay, but if I was to give you $10 million today, but you can't wake up tomorrow, would you still be happy? And everybody says no. He says, then it means waking up tomorrow has got more value than $10 million. Wow. And they say yes. Wow. Yes, then why aren't you waking up every day happy? Instead of waking up happy that you have life, you're miserable because you don't have two coins to rub together. Yeah. We need to take a break, but you've heard what he said. He said that he's been blessed so that he can bless others. I've definitely made a new friend today. We're taking a short break. We'll be right back. Keep it man up.
Our mission is centered on Christ's call of the Great Commission, but we don't do this work alone.
So we are 24 years on air. And we can do that because you helped us to do it, to fulfill what Jesus was asking me to do.
Join us on Behind the Scenes and get inspired through candid conversations with our partners as they share their life stories and why they are committed to supporting family media.
Family media has really helped me personally to grow. And one of the reasons why I give is because I would want others also to grow like me.
I believe there was a nudging in my spirit to know God for me, such that even though I moved away and experimented in life, God made sure that I found my way back.
Also, stay in the know of activities we are involved in as we keep Jesus on the airwaves. Behind the Scenes every Friday at 8:30 p.m. and repeats on Sundays at 9 p.m. only on Family TV.
Welcome back to ManUp. Tonight we are talking about fame and fortune. And I have a new set of guests in studio with me this evening. We have got Polycarp Masai. Polycarp Masai is also known as Deacon. We'll find out why he's called Deacon. He is an award-winning dancehall gospel artist from right here in Nairobi, Kenya. Deacon,
yeah.
How are you doing?
I'm doing good.
Good to have you.
Thank you.
Karibu sana.
Asante sana.
We also have Simon Kimani. Many of us would know him as Bamboo. He's also in studio with us. Karibu sana.
Thank you, sir.
It's good to have you.
Good to be here.
Awesome.
Thank you.
You've won 3 awards, 2020, 2021, 2022.
Exactly.
Did it get to your head? Now that you have fame, because we're talking about fame and fortune, did that temptation come your way? How do you deal with that?
The first one didn't. The second one, kidogo, I was like, I didn't get what I wanted. I wanted to be the first one.
Okay.
Unfortunately, I didn't. I come up the runners-up. So the third one, the most recent one, is I won it, and I was like, yeah, so I'm here. And what really hit me after that was everybody was asking, bro, now you've earned the award, you have it.
Yeah.
What's the chums? You have the cash? like we expect you to move from where you were used to stay to a new apartment, of course, a lavish one kidogo, change your car if you didn't have one to maybe buy one, change your wardrobe, like a lot of stuff. So, you know, there is fame and there is fortune.
Yes.
Sometimes fame brings fortune, sometimes it doesn't.
It doesn't.
Sometimes.
It's what we call broke millionaire.
Oh, yes. You have a name, a big one.
Yes.
Everybody knows you. The way you just said, you step on stage and everybody's like, wow, that's Deacon, yeah, that's my guy, that's my guy.
Yeah.
But when you get off stage, your pockets are still the same way. Like you have no money.
Back in the day when you're doing music here in Kenya, did you experience what he's talking about, where people know you?
Yeah.
I mean, Bamboo was a huge name.
Yeah.
And because of that, then people have certain expectations of how you ought to live your life.
Yes.
But financially, you're not there.
Yeah, we were worried about that a lot because, you know, you'd be walking and the fans pass you in their cars. You know? It's like, man, I hate this industry. Yeah, and so, but I guess that's partly why I started traveling, you know, really started getting out of town as much as possible, because it's the fame is not really what it's cracked up to be.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
You know, I've had stories of quite a number of local artists who find themselves in that space, and usually it's the guys. I rarely hear of ladies. It's usually the men.
Yeah.
And because there's this certain expectation that the public has of you, that your songs are playing in every radio station, you know, every other concert you're there performing. So the assumption is you must have some money to go along with that.
Yes.
And because you don't, then you get into debt. You borrow here and there just to leave the part.
Yes.
Did you ever get that temptation? What do you think about that kind of a lifestyle?
Yes, it was, they say fake it till you make it.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, I was tempted to do that. And I would find myself hanging out with people who had money. Even though I didn't have it, if they had it, I looked like I had it.
Exactly.
But it was a fraud, it was a fraudulent life, you know. And also, if you're not taught about financial intelligence and financial wisdom, then even if you get it, it will dissipate. So if somebody, you know, was to give you $10 million right now, if you don't know how to manage money, then you're going to sink back to the level where you were before.
Or even worse.
Yeah, you're going to sink to the level of your management.
Yes.
Yeah, yeah. So
Yes.
you know, whatever you manage well will increase. Whatever you mismanage will dissipate. Anything. So you know, there was not an industry that could support us financially. You know, if you look at how famous we were and the money, it just doesn't equate. But then also, the problem was compounded because we didn't have financial management skills.
Okay.
So even if you got money, it dissipated. You know, and then there were habits, there were character flaws. You know, you would get some money and then you call a girl to impress her and splurge all your money. It's like, you know, not just the lack of foresight. You know, so. I think those compounded, you know, made the problem even worse.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
But, yeah, I thank God I got out of that quick.
You know, when I think about a secular music artist, you know, the end game is to be famous and to make a lot of money. Yeah, that's what they want. They want to be famous. They want to sell records. They want to live their life. Is it the same for a gospel artist? And if it is not, what's the end game for you as a gospel artist?
I think it does not cut only to secular artists or gospel artists. All celebrities.
Okay.
They all want to make money and live a good life. All of them. So, yes, you might get the money. But just like Bamboo said, how you manage the money will either make you stay at top or drop.
Okay. You know, earlier on when I was talking to Tobi, he said that his understanding is that he is blessed to be a blessing to others. And so he sets limit for himself, and he looks for other places where he can plug in this extra finances that he has to be able to help communities, to be able to help other people. So for you as a gospel artist, do you have the same ideology, or is it different?
Once again, it's personal. Whether you're Christian or secular, it's still personal, because Malachi chapter 3 verse 10 says, bring tithe in the house of the Lord. you taking your tithe, it's personal.
Yeah.
You know how much you earn. You know what tithe calls are for. So when you get diligently take it to God, because He's blessed you with it.
Yeah.
When you diligently take it to God, of course, He's going to increase you. Rather, He's going to make you meet people who are going to teach you on how to manage your finances. So you'll have to be real with yourself.
You know, there's a research that was done in the country a couple of years ago, and the young people said they would do anything to get money. It doesn't matter whether it's illegal or not, as long as they don't get caught.
Yes.
They were willing to do anything to get money. And I think we are seeing a lot more of that. A lot of young people with all these social media spaces are getting into things that are ungodly for the sake of making money. And I know in the entertainment space, there's also that lure.
Yes.
You know, either to get into the occult or to do all sorts of things so that you can be able to gain fame and power. Is this a temptation that has ever come your way while you were in this space? And if yes, how do you deal with that?
Yes, I was definitely, inspired by people who were wealthy, and I wanted to be, the next success story. And, when I traveled to the States, I had the opportunity of meeting very wealthy people, superstars, and people that we would call superstars, celebrities of our day. But it's something that even artists in America suffer from, that even if you get a payday, it's not that you're wealthy, you've received a payday. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So wealth is different. Wealth is the owning of systems that pay you. But a payday is just a check that you got for something that you can splurge, that you can lose tomorrow. And the funny thing about money is that money will flow through the holes of the flaws in your character.
Ooh, I like that.
Yes, so if you have strong character, the Bible says strong men retain riches. In other words, a man of character is able to keep the wealth. It takes skill to rise to the top, but it takes character to keep you there. That's what a wise man once told me. So, I was definitely tempted to do whatever it takes. And the suffering of poverty makes people desperate, and desperate people do desperate things.
Yeah. If you did a song, and this is the song God has given me and directed me to do, and you only had one like and one view, do you consider that you've succeeded? What's the measure of success for a gospel artist?
I think the goal has really become convoluted. It has really been diluted because, they're not seeking the glory of God. They're seeking the fame and whatever money that can come out of it. The notoriety, the big name, we call it the big man syndrome.
Yes.
I think when it's not about God, you focus on the money. But Jesus said something very key. He said, wide is the road that leads to destruction, and many there be that go therein. So that means that the big numbers of people are not going to heaven. It's a very select few. He said, narrow is the path that leads to life. And he said, few there be that find it.
Yes.
So I think you shouldn't strive to get airplay here anyway. Your goal is too small. Strive to get airplay in heaven, where the angels are listening, where you can have real rewards for eternity.
I'm telling you.
Instead of just having some airplay here in a system that doesn't even adequately compensate you for your composition, for your gift, for your talent.
You can say something and then we can wrap it up.
Yeah, like for me, what I normally do is I reach out, being practical with yourself, being real with yourself. So just reach out, talk to people, expound. Like the day my brother said, you have a foundation, you have a reason, you have a purpose. Let that purpose not just revolve around you. Also give out the fruits. Whatever you have, share. Whatever you are given, give. Whatever you're blessed with, bless. No matter what comes back to you. Provided you are giving out, you are reaching out to people. Reach out to them. Speak out to the people. Like, even whoever is watching this show, there's something that he or she will buy from this show. From this talk, from my brothers, from Bamboo, from me, from you. There's something that at least somebody will buy from this. So if they reach out, we will reach out to them. And if we reach out to them, they also reach out to us.
Yeah.
And it's not just about money. It's also sending the message home. It's a spiritual thing. So if somebody listens to your music and the music has the message, he will get the message. If he comes to the concert and it's a spiritual concert, he'll get the message. Yeah.
Okay.
So it's just sending the message home, far and wide, far and wide.
Okay.
Yeah.
How would you wrap it up, my friend?
You know, when I was coming from the secular world, the secular, satanic, devil-worshipping world, I lost everything. I lost the world, and I didn't even have rent to pay. But I think that was one of my greatest moments. You know, so one of the most profound, greatest moments I ever had was a moment when I had absolutely nothing. And then God began to reprogram my mind, deprogram me from the world's way of thinking, and then reprogram me with the Word of God. And I had to, first of all, stop thinking about myself and start thinking about what I can do to create value for others. What can I do to give to others? What can I do to uplift somebody else?
Gentlemen, we have to shut it down. The kids need to go and sleep. Our time is up for ManUp this evening. I hope you've been able to get something from the conversation. I love the scripture that was shared earlier. What shall it profit a man if he gains the whole world and loses his soul? Fame and fortune, they're overrated, my friend. Don't chase after them. We were told in the Bible to seek first the kingdom of God and his righteousness, and all these other things will be added unto us. So don't chase after them. If you look for the kingdom of God and you seek after it and you endeavor as a man to live a life that's pleasing before God, all these things will just be additions in your life. Until next time, for another conversation on ManUp, do have a great night and God bless you.